All right, good evening, nerds around the world, and Happy New Year. Welcome to episode 124 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast, our first episode of 2018. I am your host, Paul English, and like always, we have a fantastic show for you tonight. We are going to be beginning this year at the year that was with another interrogation episode. This time we are going to be interrogating each other on our favorite and least favorite movies of 2017. And joining me tonight is the fantastic team of regulars that you've all come to know and love, beginning with our co-admin, our co-host. It is Chris Miller. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Happy New Year. It's just like great to, it's just like I said, love doing the show with you guys. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Interesting topic. It's just have feeling a lot of excitement. I feel this is gonna be an interesting show that we're going to tackle.
You have no idea how right you are. And Colton Hunt is also here. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm ready for a new year. Hoping to see more original films this year because the 20-ish films I saw, they were either reboots, remakes, sequels, or parts of a franchise or something like that. I saw only 2 original films: Get Out and Happy Death Day. That's it.
Oh, I got another one you should add to your list later.
What?
Oh, I was saying for this year. If you didn't see Split, that one was really good.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I've heard good things about it, though I know about the twist. But
yeah,
hey, sometimes
technically that's not a that's not a new original movie. That's part of an existing franchise.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Technically,
the twist.
Spoiler alert! Here. It's Eric Mickelson. What's going on, my friend?
Not much. Had a interesting set of few days to say the least. But I've done what I can to make it to the show because I love being on here and can't wait to talk about movies with you guys.
Well, we love having you here, buddy. And also here from Geek Salad, we got Mike Gulick. How's it going, buddy?
Hi.
Short and to the point.
Hi, Mike.
Okay, guys, so we're going to begin the interrogation in just a moment, but I want to let you know that after the interrogations are done, I hope you'll stick around after that because we are going to be doing collection updates for the first time in God knows how long. I can't remember for the life of me when's the last time we did this, so I apologize in advance if any of us wind up showing items that we have shown before. Just letting you know that it might happen. But anyway, so we're going to kick things off by starting with our least favorite movies of 2017. Let's get the negativity out of the way, and then we'll find out the positives, our favorite. So, y'all know how this format works by now. Let's go from left to right. Chris, real quick, gentlemen, what is your least favorite movie of 2017 before we dive into the questions? Chris, what is yours?
Power Rangers.
Colton?
Something tells me we're all going to be pissing each other off with our choices.
I have a feeling that's going to be the case.
My least favorite movie was Transformers: The Last Night.
Oh, you're not pissing anyone off with that.
All right. I have a feeling that Eric and I are going to have the most controversial picks for this. And you're about to find out. Eric, what is your least favorite movie of 2017?
Keep in mind, I did not watch very many bad movies this year. Okay, I didn't go to Baywatch or Pirates or Transformers. So it was more just least favorite was a disappointing film. So for me, my least favorite was unfortunately Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Yeah, a little bit of shock from that. Don't worry, buddy. I'll pick you up just a minute.
As long as you don't think it's worse than Attack of the Clones, we're good, Eric.
Yes.
I doubt that very much.
Some people
No.
Some people say it's worse than Attack of the Clones. It's like
No.
Oh, absolutely
no.
not. No, it wasn't a bad film. It's just I was disappointed with it. Like people who say it's an awful film, I disagree with that.
Okay, we're cool then.
Mike, what was your least favorite?
Alien Covenant.
okie dokie.
Okay.
Another one I
AKA
did.
The David Show.
All right. Oh, God, be with me. I'm about to take so much heat for this. Actually, you guys probably know this already because I've rattled about this movie before. My least favorite film of 2017 was Logan.
See Sam!
I knew that was coming.
You son of a bitch!
He gave his life for our sins. Spoiler alert.
You death piece of shit.
Just for that, Chris, you're going on the hot seat first. Colton, what is your first question for Chris?
Okay, Power Rangers was your least favorite movie. All right. This is good. What did you? What was it about this movie that just made you decide it was the worst when you saw it from 2017?
To me,
start with an easy one.
To me, it is an unbearable camp fest, just like the TV show was. It was cheesy. It was corny. It was hokey. It was completely banal in terms of its plot and dialogue. It's like I watched the TV series when I was younger, but realized how much of a shit show this was, and the movie was no different. It's like what we're seeing in this movie. It's like what would happen if Michael Bay directed this, were to take the reins of this franchise. Because it feels like a Transformers movie more than.
How dare you say that? Michael Bay would have fucked this thing up to the lengths I can't even describe. Okay? This was not a Michael Bay movie. I'm shutting you down right now on that.
No,
I'm shutting you down.
It feels like his imprint.
No. Look,
I kind of get what he's saying.
Because it was dumb as any other movies that followed the 2007 Transformers.
No.
Did you actually watch this movie?
Did you
Yes. Did y'all actually watch this movie?
Yes.
Yes. And you'll find out what I think about it in just a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not quite on Ryan's opinion as these guys.
No, it wasn't.
I understand your criticisms.
It was just a toy commercial.
It was a Krispy Kreme commercial.
Toy commercial. The 95 and 97 movies were toy commercials. The 2017 was not a toy commercial. This is no less a toy commercial. Eric, what is your first question?
Okay. So was there any, obviously there's a lot of criticisms you have of it. Is there any particular part of it that rubs you the wrong way, like how it's directed or certain characters in the film or a specific scene?
It lies in the tone of the movie. It feels very uneven. I don't know if it wants to be an ancient teen drama or a campy, jaunty sci-fi action adventure. It feels very conflicted in terms of what the overall tone of the film should be. I mean, I find it felt jarring at times. Just watching it, just like.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it wasn't executed in any fine fashion. It's just like I felt they were just trying too hard to modernize Power Rangers or make it have any kind of credibility, which it had none.
Yeah, I kind of get that. I think back to that area between the first and second act, and I can kind of see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, that was just. I mean, to me, I suppose people who watched the original show could feel a little bit nostalgic watching it, but for me, it's just I just was bored to my mind. It's just like I was, not to mention some of the characters were stupid, very stupid. Some of them really got on my nerves. I just wanted to throw something at the team. I felt like I was going to go catatonic after I finished watching it.
Mike, do you have a question?
Mike,
he's just too ashamed.
Mike, you there?
He's just too ashamed.
Mike,
sorry. Yeah, no, sorry. I got rather annoyed by that. So I mean, it's not as if I didn't like. I might have enjoyed the movie.
Really?
I mean, it
you should be ashamed of yourself.
It was my runner-up as my favorite movie of the year. So, I do find it rather offensive that you're so shitting on it so much. I would kind of rather you kind of temper that a little bit because you do realize other people really enjoy the movie quite a bit.
Yes.
So I would appreciate if you like take the level down a couple of notches.
Admittedly, it wasn't that high on my rankings, but that's because, like I said, I only saw really good reviews this year.
So then,
also, you never saw the show.
So my question, it was originally who replaced your brain with Jello pudding.
What?
But I'm going to change my question to something actually legitimate.
Like this is a masterpiece. What the?
I told you it was my runner-up for favorite movie of the year.
I'm not sure.
I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm not sure if I should comment further.
I don't think you should.
No,
I'm
not.
not.
Shut up right now.
In fact, I can't come up with a question at the moment, so please move on.
Yeah. The only question I can honestly come up with is who the fuck melted your brain, for God's sakes?
You all act like this
real.
You all act like it's one of the most intelligent and profound movies that has ever been created. When in fact, it is a shitfest. It is a 12-hour commercial.
Okay.
I don't care, Mike.
I
hate this movie.
I cannot begin to tell you how every word you just said was wrong in every
Bullshit.
measurable way
Bullshit.
that you can describe. I am not going to rectify your stupidity with any questions whatsoever.
Do you hear yourself right now? Do you hear the words that
Yes, I'm hearing the words that are coming out of my mouth.
What is coming out of your
And I am
mouth?
going to defend, and I will defend it later on. You will find out. But I don't have an answer. I don't have a question. I am not going to rectify this. Colton, do you have anything else?
Who was your least favorite Ranger?
I think it's a toss-up between Jason and Billy because both of them annoyed the shit out of me.
Don't you fucking trash Billy.
Billy was just being a doofus the entire time. It's just like they're always like annoying the shit out of me. He's like, "Oh, this is so cool." It's like what are you trying to make? What are you trying to make them likable? Everybody's cool by being so awed by everything. I just had enough of that. Yes, he's an autistic character, but it doesn't change the fact that the character was grating and it was very irritating. And Jason was just a dumbass. It's like.
So do you find me to grating and irritating? Because I have autism. I'm on the spectrum.
Screw both of you. I'm not commenting on his autism. It's just how the character was how the characterization was executed. It's a cardboard cutout. No,
Eric.
I think before I make my point, I think what he's trying to say is because one of my criticisms of the movie was that a lot of the characters, not everyone, but most of them kind of felt one note for most of the movie, and I think that's kind of what he's going over with that. But my question that I was going to have was, so obviously there's a lot of problems with the movie that you're seeing. Is there any part of it that you got enjoyment out of? And if there wasn't, can you name one thing that maybe they can improve upon for a sequel, since that's going to likely happen?
Not a damn thing. Honestly, to me, it is on my list of one of the worst movies ever made. I hate it so much.
I am so sick of you trashing this. In fact, I'm just shutting you down right now. We are done with you. I can't handle this anymore. Colton, we're coming to you next.
No,
Squad.
Yeah, he's shitting on it. Okay, I'm gonna name a parrot. I'm gonna get a parrot. I'm gonna name it Polly right after you. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get to say, parrot just sucks.
Chris, do you have a question for Colton's movie?
You're a bitch.
Colton, what was your movie again? Transformers?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So my first question is, I personally went to go see Age of Extinction because I was like, okay, it's gonna probably be a new trilogy, they got a new cast, and I gave it a shot, and it sucked. So I didn't go see this one. What compelled you to go spend your money to go see Transformers? I really need to know.
Yes.
I I've been burned by this franchise so many times, but when I saw the trailer, I thought maybe just this once, maybe Michael Bay will pull.
Admittedly, the trailer was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it's like when I saw the trailer, I thought, hey, they looks like they're finally, really treating everything seriously. I'm like, hey, Josh Duhamel's back. I liked him in the original trilogy. I'm glad, they're not, just throwing out everybody from the original films and saying, hey, I don't know where they are. We don't care. We're just using new people now. I'm like, hey, are they teasing Unicron? This might be cool. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. Alas, it did not meet my expectations.
All right.
It looked
Fair
like
enough.
Michael Bay was, was sort of, pulling us in a more darker, stakes-filled direction. But the movie itself was pretty much par for the course, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing.
Okay.
All right. Mike, do you have a question for Colton?
Yeah. Compared to the last couple of Transformers movies, where does this one rank for you? Oh, actually, compared to all of the Transformers movies, where does this one rank?
Well, I would probably put it. My ranking would probably go the original, Dark of the Moon, then The Last Night, Age of Extinction, and finally Revenge of the Fallen.
That's fair.
Okay.
I know it's like trying to say which pile of shit is the smallest, and it's hard. I get it.
Okay. All right. Here's my question. Without spoiling anything, Colin. Actually, if you want to spoil it, go ahead because I'm actually. I don't know. I'm debating if I want to let you spoil it or not because God knows.
I'll probably go see it later.
Do you
but I
really
don't care.
care?
I mean, if it shows up on Netflix, I might watch it. I don't know, but I mean, I heard the way that they addressed what happened to Shia LaBeouf's character was kind of stupid. Was it?
They don't really address it. That's not much of a spoiler. It's like it's like a don't blink or you miss it kind of token mention.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
God help me. All right. Chris, you're still here. You haven't abandoned us.
I haven't.
What was your question for Colton?
Goodness. This is like I'm not sure I really have the question. I mean, it's possible to have a question. It's like, oh my God. I was just trying to remember my question is. You said the trailer. You said the trailer. I mean, despite being burnt out by the previous Transformers sequels, you were like taken in by the trailers. Not really taken in, but you said. I mean, the trailers kind of said. Watching the trailer, you made it. You said you still wanted to go out and see the film. Did you have more doubt that it was going to work, or did you have a little more optimism? That
I had a bit of optimism. I actually had
were you more skeptical or were you more optimistic?
I was more optimistic about this one. I was still wary, and when I saw the reviews, I was thinking, damn it, Michael Bay, I was rooting for you this time. Because, I mean, like, seriously, watching Bumblebee, being thrown to the ground by an evil Optimus, I'm thinking, holy crap, that was actually pretty shocking.
Oh, shit.
And, in actuality, the Optimus-Bumblebee fight was actually pretty cool to watch. I mean, it's like Michael Bay has an idea what he's doing, but he doesn't have the focus to actually follow through with any of this. It's like if he could just, if they just took away the keys to the kingdom from him, he would give us a movie that was, watchable like the first one. But ever since he was allowed to do whatever he wants, he just keeps going off the rails and doesn't know when to scale back in.
Let him and Zack Snyder be the directors of cinematography in their respective franchises, and we're all good.
Right.
I'd be okay with that.
Maybe.
Eric, did you have another question?
Shit, I did have one. I losing my train of thought. If one of you guys has another question, it'll probably come back to me in just a moment.
Mike, did you have one?
No, I legitimately do not care about the Transformers movies anymore. Michael Bay has killed
Come on,
that
it
for
feels
me.
like I haven't really talked about this one too much.
I saw 1, 2, and 3 in theaters. After that, I was like, yeah, I don't care anymore. I've never seen 4. I've never seen 5. I have no intention. And odds are good, unless it's like the best trailer in the world, I'm probably not even going to see Bumblebee because I don't care.
And I felt the same way about Power Rangers. I don't want to see no more.
Why didn't you go see it? Then why did you go see it?
See, it was
I'd rather you not see it than just shit all over one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah.
Why? You people are just absolutely.
I fucking went by myself to go see it. Okay, that's how much I wanted to see it.
I can't wait to I can't wait to get that parasite to annoy the hell out of you.
All right. I really don't have another question for this. More of a comment. Colton, I know what it's like to be duped by trailers. The trailer for Amazing Spider-Man 2 duped me. I thought that was going to be a fantastic film. Turned out it was a pile of shit shielded between a couple gems. Be wiser next time. That's all I can say. Just you've gained some experience. You know what it's like to be duped by trailers. If you've learned a valuable lesson, my friend, I hope it serves you well in the future.
Yeah.
Well, if no one has any other questions for me, can I say?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Since the trailer is what drew you in, I'm curious. Was there anything from the trailer you noticed significant that was missing in the film? Because I noticed that happening a lot in recent blockbusters, Rogue One being a primary example.
Rogue One out. I'll never forgive them for taking out the scene where Jen goes up against that TIE fighter, but going back to Transformers, I think actually everything that I didn't watch every trailer, but I feel like there were a lot of things from the trailers did actually appear in the movie. I mean, maybe the context was different here and there. Like there is when Optimus was going crazy or what have you. Some of those shots were different from the actual film, and as a means of fooling people, I guess you could say. And the trailers also. There was like a lot of context that was different. Like the trailers implied that the Decepticons had finally, after repeated attacks, finally took over Earth, whereas it was actually the other way around. That Earth had been officially been declared a no Transformers zone, and the shots were looked like the Transformers were roaming around the city. It was actually special defenses set up by humans and all that jazz, also, the trailers did make it seem like, one of the Dinobots, the Tyrannosaurus, Grimlock, I think his name is. It made it seem like he was going to play a huge role in the movie, but he does not. He's only there for like a few minutes at best, and even then, that's giving it a lot too much credit. Let's see what else. Other than that, though, I think it was this trailer is pretty much it wasn't a case of trailers always lie. They were, pretty much upfront about what we saw was what we ultimately got. But I will say, something that seriously disappointed me about this movie was that, like I said, I hated that the Decepticons didn't actually take over the Earth and that they were pretty much back. It was like they were pretty much no closer to accomplishing their goals than they were in the first movie. Megatron is about as ineffective as you can possibly get, even though he's got like this really badass design to him and all that jazz. Josh Duhamel returns, and he is so inconsequential to this film that his character could have been played by anybody, and it wouldn't have made any difference. It's like there was like only 2 token mentions to the fact that he had actually been in the earlier films, and like they have so very little bearing on the plot that it really doesn't matter. Like brief spoiler, but when he first encounters Bumblebee, he tells Bumblebee that he's sorry that it has to be this way because he's fighting alongside the people that are like enforcing the no Transformer zones and all that jazz. And he mentions that Megatron haunts his dreams, and that's about all the character he gets in the entire film. It's pretty much the Mark Wahlberg show from that point forward. And also, wow, Anthony Hopkins, he somehow has about a 5-minute cameo in Thor Ragnarok, and there was way more pathos and emotion in that performance than his entire role in Transformers: The Last Night.
Why is it I'm not surprised?
What'd you say, Matt? Paul?
I'm laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's I mean, you come to expect that from Michael Bay. I mean, there's no emotion in this movie at all. He just wants you to get a hard on with all the explosions and sexy women. But I mean, it gets boring after a while.
Also, Anthony Hopkins is like, you want to know, don't you, dude? And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Anthony Hopkins said, dude.
He what?
And it's like, yes, and it's like he didn't even know how to say it properly. I'm like, what the hell kind of direction was that? Also, Hot Rod's in this movie. You think there's gonna, be some sort of connection with Transformers the film, and like, nope, mythology gag. That's it. Also, Hot Rod speaks with a French accent for some reason. It was what the hell?
It's obnoxious French accent, not that, yes. Wait.
Also, how do you make a movie that features Transformers and the time of freaking King Arthur boring? I mean, seriously. We have a bunch of Transformers that Transformers are freaking dragon.
That was also pretty boring.
What?
I was just making a joke. I'm like, I mean, there was also a movie about King Arthur just by himself that was pretty boring.
That one.
I never saw that one.
I didn't either, but that's all I've heard from it is just that it's really boring.
But seriously, we have a bunch of Transformers that can somehow turn into a dragon, and that's boring! How? Transformers turn into a dragon, Michael Bay!
Oh, wait, you know what? I'm sorry, Colton. I actually do have one question, and I think this will wrap it up. As I'm sure you're aware, around the time that the Last Night came out in theaters, the Nostalgia Critic did a non-review of Transformers 5. So he reviewed the movie without actually seeing it. My question is kind of a two-parter. Did you see his non-review of Transformers 5? And if so, how accurate was it to the actual movie?
I actually didn't see his review. What did he say?
I mean, from what I've heard, he was about 98% accurate.
Really? I'll have to take a look and see. I think I might have skipped down on it just in case he might have been, kind of right or whatever. But, it's probably not that hard to predict what Michael Bay is going to do next.
Yeah.
Seriously, we got Arthur, we got King Arthur, we got Merlin, we got Transformers turning into a dragon, and this was somehow not all that exciting. Also, for some weird reason, we had this when the movie starts off, we have these Stranger Things rejects showing up, or Stranger Things or Stand By Me rejects showing up at the start of the film. And like this kid's like, hey, want to see a dead robot? I'm thinking, did we just walk into Stand By Me? What the hell are these kids doing here? This is like some of the worst child acting I've ever seen. And I'm so glad they were not in the movie. They were only in the movie for about 10 minutes.
All right. Eric, it is your turn. And as you guys know, he's been through a couple of things the past few days, so let's not be too harsh on him, even though
it's fine. As we know, all people who hate The Last Jedi are heathens who deserve to be banished. So
I don't feel that way. And I mean, I had my problems with it, even though I liked it. Okay,
it's a Star Wars fan, and it's par for the course at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anything that's new to Star Wars, we must hate it.
Chris, what is your first question for Eric?
Okay, what is it about this movie that made you? What was some specific things about this movie that had made you declare this is like the worst film you've seen this year?
Well, first I want to clarify, it wasn't the worst film I've seen this year. There's probably 3 or 4 others I can put in that. It's just my least favorite. But I think it ended up being that way just because, I loved The Force Awakens so much, and I loved everything they set up, and because of the massive shift in the writing and the directing team, I felt that in this movie there was a very big disconnect in the storytelling between episode 7 and episode 8.
Something wrong with your audio, Eric.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did my audio cut out there for a bit?
A little. There was something in the background.
Oh, okay. Oh.
You're good now.
But, yeah, basically what I was... TLDR, what I was saying is I just felt that it was a little bit inconsistent in its writing and tone compared to episode 7. Probably due to the shift in directors and writing team. Ultimately, that led to lots of unanswered questions, lots of characters acting far differently than they were characterized to be in the previous film, and just left me ultimately really confused and feeling like it didn't match up with what we had seen before. Someone actually, when they were describing how they felt about it, I think summarized how I feel about it really well, is that it feels like episode 8 and 7 were handled together the same way the Hobbit trilogy was, where there wasn't a whole lot of pre-planning for the trilogy. It feels more like they're making one movie at a time, which isn't necessarily bad, but it left some inconsistencies that bothered me a lot throughout the film.
Okay.
Thing. All right. Colton, what is your first question for Eric?
Okay, well, first off, yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean in that regard, Eric. Like I've said to a couple of people that it feels like the story is just beginning rather than heading into the final film of the trilogy. But
Exactly.
right now, for my question, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. Or let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. Canto Bite. What did you think of it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I cut out there for a second on my end. What was the question again? The last part of it?
Let's get the elephant out in the room out of the way. What did you think of Canto Bite, the casino planet?
Well, first off, I completely forgot what the name of the planet was. So, honestly, that was another big issue I had with the film was just everything going on with that planet. It's kind of just felt, well, one, it seemed like a completely unnecessary side plot just because they, the one admiral who was taking control of the ship didn't want to give her plans to Poe. But on just the actual scenes there itself, I both felt that they intercut to them at the wrong times. Like they were cutting between Rey's training and that, and I'm like, it just felt disappointing to watch that as opposed to all the awesome stuff that was going on with Luke and Rey. And then like, okay, well, if they're doing some cool stuff here, then I don't mind that. But it just felt like it was in overblown amounts of I don't know, just pointless subplots and CG. It reminded me a lot of the prequels, that planet. And whereas it was weird because that whole planet and everything that's going on there specifically reminded me a lot of the problems I have with the prequels. And they were cutting to that to and from the scenes where Rey was training Luke, where they're introducing lots of really cool new ideas about the Star Wars universe. And it just felt, that was what I meant by, one of the things I meant by there was a big disconnect in their storytelling.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like I said before the show started, there was so much going on, and they just didn't have enough time to talk about all of it. Canto Bite probably would have seemed less, disconnecting if it wasn't happening while the rebels were, being pursued by the Empire, maybe, or not the Empire, the First Order, maybe, and something like that.
One and the same at this point.
Though I still personally enjoyed it on a certain level, but I can't see why people had to.
Yeah, there were parts that were enjoyable.
All right, Mike, do you have a question?
I mean, there's a whole back and forth that the divide between Star Wars fans. Would you say you're on more one side or more the other, or you think you're like more in the middle with just a little bit of leaning?
Well, I'm definitely not on one extreme or the other. I always feel that in any kind of argument, the extreme on one side or the other is not necessarily correct. But I would definitely lean more on, I have a lot more problems and complaints with the movie. But, I'm willing to recognize, not every single complaint people have is necessarily extremely valid or relevant. And there are legitimately good things about the movie, even if I don't like necessarily the direction that they're going with everything.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. So I mean, as you guys probably know, I mean, Eric, myself, Mike, and Caleb, we all went to see Last Jedi
Mhm.
together, and which was a hell of a
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah, it
Well,
was
anyway,
great.
so Eric, my question is, I mean, I obviously had my own problems with The Last Jedi. There were a few things I thought, what were they thinking doing that? And I don't know how well I'd rank it in my like my list of like Star Wars movies. I don't even. But that's a conversation for another time. But anyway,
Yeah.
despite the flaws I have, I still enjoyed it for the most part. Anyway, was there one thing in particular that they did that you just felt like really pissed you off? Like, what the hell, Ryan Johnson? Or what the hell, writers?
Well, for the most part, it was a series of most of the things I didn't like with the movie were not quite on that level. It was just a combination of seeing something of half that level over and over and over again. But I will say probably there were two that just made me want to scream in the theater. One was when I found out. I honestly can't remember the name of the admiral who has the purple hair. Oh yeah, spoilers. Oh. The admiral who has the purple hair comes in about 30, 45 minutes into the movie. The actions she takes and the things she tells the characters throughout the movie, I felt in the end when I found out I'm like, why didn't you just explain this in the first place? Obviously, it creates dramatic effect for the audience, but I didn't feel it served any purpose to the story outside that, so I got really frustrated. And without going into spoilers, how they handled Snoke, I was really bad and disappointed about that. I ranted to Paul the entire way home about that.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. What I will say to that, and there are some theories I've been hearing, and they seem compelling, but I guess we'll find in the ninth film.
Yeah.
What happened to him might have been an illusion. There's no confirmation of that just yet, but
yeah,
keep that in your head. Maybe it was something similar to what Luke did at the end of the film. Again, without giving anything away.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of things that they've set up in this film that I guarantee are going to be like, whoa, no, this was a character trying to manipulate you or something like that. Without going to, I have a specific example, but I don't want to go into spoilers.
In the next one. Okay. Holy shit! What the hell? Okay. Chris, did you have another question? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is another question. That, of course, of all the characters of the Last Jedi, which was the one which you have the issue the most, which is in terms of how they executed certain character and a certain character.
Probably for what I said before, either Supreme Leader Snoke building him up so much and then him not having a real big impact in the story whatsoever. But mainly, I had a big issue with how Finn was being handled. How he went from being a big core character from the episode 7 to, because of how they handled his subplot during the movie, he and Rose kind of felt like side characters during the whole movie that honestly, for the most part, didn't really impact the story whatsoever. And that bothered me because I really liked the trio of Finn, Poe, and Rey, and I wanted to see all of them have an equal part in the movie, or at least sort of balanced. I do still love how Rey and Poe were treated in the movie. It's just I wish Finn had that same treatment.
That's from your point of view, I guess. I'm not sure. Obviously, obviously, yeah. That's yeah. I mean, I do have certain issues with. Well, actually, I really don't have a lot of issues with.
Yeah.
And
I can see where you're coming from with that.
I mean, issues. Colton, did you have another question?
I did. What was the last question asked, just in case someone already asked it?
He was asking me if there was a specific character going from Force Awakens to Last Jedi that I thought, had the inconsistencies with how their story was being told, like I mentioned, and I said Supreme Leader Snoke, but didn't want to go into spoilers about it, and how Finn was kind of treated like a side character in this story.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I think there's might be a bit more to it, but I can understand. Let's say it's like every character in this movie had a story arc going in, and which and like I said, they just didn't have enough time to focus on everybody at once. But,
right, exactly.
But let me see here. Even though this actually was a very long film, let me think for a moment.
Yeah, need your time. Go ahead.
Okay, so I won't go fully into spoilers, but there's one moment in this movie, probably the most heavily divided part of this film, is a certain moment featuring Luke Skywalker that everyone says is a portrayal of everything the character stands for. My question is, what's your take on that? Do you think it's
was it the one you see in the flashbacks, or is it the one you see at the very end of the film? Just give me context.
The one we see in the flashbacks.
Oh, okay. That part was another thing that had me kind of screaming inside of, why would you do this? Because I was very much on the side of, given how how Luke was characterized in the original trilogy, how his interactions with Darth Vader and what he aimed to do, despite what Obi-Wan Yoda were telling him about the dark side and how he was, couldn't be brought back or anything. The way Luke treated a certain character in this movie seemed uncharacteristic of that, and it seemed like Luke of, pre Empire Strikes Back. Because in Empire and Return of the Jedi, he kind of learns the lesson he does in this movie already. So I felt like it just kind of took a step back for his character.
Okay, I get it. I still haven't been able to fully decide.
I can see where people did like where it was going with it. I just personally wasn't a fan.
I feel like there's arguments to be made on both sides, and I can't decide for the moment.
Yeah, I would probably say to debate on that. I would say that for although I understand where you're coming from, I do want to point out that, like, if you recall the way that Luke defeated Vader in Return of the Jedi, he did give in to his emotions the moment he said, if you won't turn, then perhaps your sister will. He snapped at that point. He was so we see that Luke has these moments of being prone to making emotional snap decisions, and I think that that's what he did in that flashback. And you see immediately he regretted, like, what was I thinking? I mean, that's probably the debate you can make for the other side. Like,
I didn't think of that perspective.
He made an emotional decision, like, oh wait, no, I shouldn't do that.
It's like part of me thinks that. Part of me thinks that Luke wouldn't do that, but at the same time, it's also a very human, it's a human thing to do, so to speak. Like, as perfect as we all want to be, we do still have these moments of imperfection and things that we seriously regret or whatever. And because of The Force Awakens, how they said that Luke blamed himself for his Jedi Order failing and running away. I mean, a lot of people said that Luke would never run away, so I kind of felt like that flashback actually gave justification for why he actually would turn his back on everything. It was kind of like you said, the sort of a consequence of this whole trilogy not being planned out from the start. Like Ryan Johnson was kind of up a creek without a paddle, as he had to figure out a lot of this stuff on his own. And it's gonna be something that I'll be thinking about for a long time, to say the least.
Yeah, that's actually a perspective that I wasn't really thinking about when I thought back on the film. So that actually gives me something to think about for a while.
I like doing that on occasion. Mike, did you have another question for Eric?
No, I thought he argued his point very well. Better than, say, maybe Chris.
That's just a little horse shit.
Okay.
Certainly much more respectfully than Chris.
What are you talking about?
Agreed. Okay. I just have one more question.
Yes, Paul.
Eric, looking ahead to, next year when we get episode 9, is there like one thing you saw from episode 8 that you're hoping they correct in that JJ corrects in episode 9?
The only thing really I can think of is, like I was saying, there's something that Kylo Ren says in this movie that I think is being used for deception and isn't actually the truth. I hope that's the case, because that actually brings a lot to his character while still enabling JJ to bring a twist and bring in the plan that he had for that reveal from episode 7.
Very good. Very good. I love that. I love that. All right. Chris,
I want to say though that everyone who's like petitioning to remove this film from canon, I have a lot of problems with this film, but that would cause way more harm than it would good.
Yeah, I just think those
Carrie Fisher's last performance as Leia. You want that taken away from canon, you bottom feeders.
These people, to those people trying to petition, this is for you.
All right. Chris or Colton, did any of you have another question?
I'm good.
No, I mean, I had a question, but it's kind of an offshoot of what Chris asked Eric about characters from one movie to the next. I'll briefly ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I know that we only had him for like maybe 15 minutes at best in the Force Awakens on Poe Dameron, but it felt like he kind of goes under. It feels like he kind of undergoes a bit of a change in his personality in between films. I mean, granted, we didn't know much about his personality to begin with, but in The Force Awakens, he was more happy-go-lucky, whereas he was a bit more of a military maverick in Last Jedi. What did you think of that?
So like Maverick from Top Gun. So.
Honestly, I thought it kind of worked for him because like you were saying, he did seem kind of happy-go-lucky in Force Awakens. The fact that he then translates into being, just this completely reckless starfighter pilot, it's like, of course he's gonna feel happy-go-lucky because he's on top of the world, nothing can stop him, and he kind of shows that in the film. And I actually, like I was saying to Paul on the ride home, Poe Dameron, by far my favorite part of this movie. One of my favorite performances in all Star Wars.
Okay, cool. I know it kind of goes against the whole interrogation of your least favorite film, but I got you to say something positive about it. But I'm cool.
Like I said, I didn't hate. Like I said, I had more problems than I did things that I enjoyed this movie. But I do want to give credit to the things that I enjoy. I always feel that's fair to movies. Talk about things I like and things I like about. Like I'll probably go into things I dislike about my favorite film as well as the things I like, just to be fair.
All right. I think. Okay. So Eric, you're up next, right? Your film was Alien Covenant.
Mike's up next.
Yeah, it's Mike. I just finished.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where's my head? I do too many things at once right here. Mike, you said your least favorite was Alien Covenant.
Yes.
All right. So let's jump right in on that. So, Chris, what is your first question?
Okay. What is it? I mean. You said this is your least favorite of 2017. What's this overall specific reason that it led you to consider this the worst film? The worst film of the year.
Well,
your least favorite.
I mean, I love the Alien movies. All right, I've got the Blu-ray Alien quadrilogy here. 8 discs right here. I love it. I've even got Prometheus around here somewhere. Even though I wasn't really a big fan of that movie either.
Wasn't a fan of that either.
Yeah. But this movie, it felt like Ridley Scott was more interested in making a sequel to Prometheus than making a legitimate Alien movie. And when he did actually bring in the aliens, they were just kind of shoehorned in at the end. So pretty much everything you saw in the trailer with the aliens, that's in like the last maybe half hour of the movie. And then there's a quote unquote twist in the movie that he telegraphs from a mile away. I mean, if you don't see this twist coming, then you probably aren't even watching the movie because it is just so blatantly obvious that they're going to do it. It was just the whole movie was just a massive disappointment. I love the Alien movie, and this one, I shudder to call it an Alien movie because it was just Prometheus Part 2 with a couple of aliens in there.
Electric Boogaloo.
I wish. I've had a lot more fun with that.
All right. Colton, do you have a question?
Yep. So, as you might have heard me earlier when we were announcing our films, I referred to Alien Covenant as the David Show. And I was saying that because while Michael Fassbender may be a phenomenal actor, I feel like this movie they're like, hey, we'll just throw Michael Fassbender into this film and let him work his magic. So, I mean, what did you think of Michael Fassbender in this movie? Did you think his star power came with the expense of everybody else, or did he at least make the movie tolerable?
It depends on which Michael Fassbender you're talking about. If you're talking about Michael Fassbender as
David,
then I really, really liked him. If you're talking about Michael Fassbender as the other one, the
Walter.
evil one, yeah. Or which one was the evil one?
David was the evil one.
Okay, I didn't like him as David. I did like him as the other one. Him as David was just, well, let's take what he was in Prometheus and make him even more sinister. Ooh. Yeah, no, thank you. I think Michael Fassbender is a fantastic actor, but he's taken some really crap roles. I'm not gonna lie. He needs a much better agent because it seemed like for every good movie he does a really, really lousy one. And I think this one was a lousy one. Honestly, he was fine. He was not my favorite actor in this movie. That went to I'm just blanking on the lead actress,
Catherine Morrison.
Thank you. She was fantastic in this movie. She was in another one of my favorite movies this year, Logan Lucky.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah, she was fantastic in this. Hell, I even like McBride. Danny McBride. I even liked him in the movie. Michael Fassbender, I liked him in half the movie.
All right. Eric, did you have a question?
So, as a fan of the Alien franchise, was there anything specific that this movie did that you think angered you a bit more than it would just the average moviegoer?
Yeah. There's one point where there's kind of a chest burster, but not the chest burster from the original Alien and from Aliens 2. It emerged as a CG alien, like a fully formed alien, but really, really small.
The Neomorphs, right?
Yeah, but it was so blatantly CGI. It was really bad CGI. Like you Ridley Scott, you made the original Alien. You made the chest burster. You know how to do this. Why did you make this little alien puppet thing that it didn't look real? It didn't look right at all. It didn't fit in with the mythology of the movies. It was just out of place and it was stupid. Very, very stupid.
All right. That was actually going to be my question, just because I don't watch the Alien movies. I've never seen them. But I was going to ask you if there was anything you thought that they discredited about the Alien mythos. But it looks like you already answered that question. So
and not only that, but he took everything that was all the small moments that I liked about Prometheus. He kind of screwed those over in Covenant as well. So the things that I did like about the few things that I did like about his previous movie, I don't like him anymore because he just jerked off on him.
That was gonna be another one of my questions.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Yeah, that was it. That was it. So it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one more question, unless Chris has another question.
I mean, was there a specific character that you hated in the movie? What made you go, why is this character like this? What they did in terms of the execution, that the character, what they did, a specific character. I mean, was it what character stood out as you one that didn't really work within the film?
Well, Michael Fassbender's David, I thought I get where they were trying to go. I just don't think it went there very well. Honestly, 90% of the cast was just like throwaway monster fodder. Yeah, I mean, there were only a very few characters that actually had any kind of resonance. Oh, damn it, what's his name?
None of these characters were worth remembering.
Billy Crudup's character was. I think out of all of the characters that left any kind of impression, besides David, Billy Crudup's character was just. He was just there. He was there to be what he ended up being in the movie. There was really no character moment for him. He was just. I don't know why he was in the movie other than to be what he ended up being.
All right. All right. Eric, you said you had one more. I think that'll be the last question we ask.
Yes. Yeah. So when I watched the trailer for Alien Covenant, it seems to near second I've kind of focused a lot on the action of the movie, and I know you were saying that's a lot of the last 30 minutes. Would you say the film focuses a lot more on that action, or is it like the older Alien films and focuses a bit more on the horror?
Hold on one.
All right.
Okie dokie.
Dodge the question.
Right.
Yeah, maybe he's answering it for you.
I'm not answering that.
No, what he said earlier about how the movie kind of disregards Prometheus, that was actually going to be one of my other questions. So I'm good when he comes back.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Someone was just knocking on my door.
All right.
What was the upshot of your question again? Sorry.
It was basically just did the movie focus a lot on the action scenes, kind of like how the trailer portrayed it, or did play a lot more like the original Alien, where it was more horror based?
Honestly, it played a lot more like Prometheus, where it was long, quiet moments of, oh, let's walk through this weird place. Oh, is something going to happen? Ah, it's happening! Okay, let's walk to this other place. Oh, it's happening! Okay, let's do this next.
Oh, no, that's exactly what I was worried about. All right.
Okay, we're all safe. Nothing can possibly go right now. Holy shit, what's that?
Exactly, yeah. And like I said, it wasn't really until the last half hour that all the alien stuff came in, and it was kind of cool for moments. But then they just kind of like, there was a very limited action sequence, like extended action sequence at the end, where they're actually trying to deal with the alien. And that was cool because that had flashbacks like to the alien and aliens, which I love. But then they just pissed it all away with this really lame and really depressing ending. That's one thing about the aliens movies. Even if they're really scary, in the end, the ending of each one is hopeful. It's a happy ending. This one, now let's have the most depressing, most evil ending possible. I don't like that. Why am I watching this movie?
Sequel bait!
Oh, yeah, given the box office dive this movie took, there's no sequel coming, which I am fine with. I don't honestly. I do not want to see any more alien movies by Ridley Scott. He did the Michael Bay Transformers movies for me. I don't care about him anymore.
Come on, Camp. It's your call.
Before we switch off to another person, I just want to say, going back to like Eric asking about action and all that jazz, there is like a full 30-second TV spot called She Won't Go Quietly, which features Daniels gearing up to take on the alien that's on board the ship. But it turns out that entire TV spot was made up for commercials. It's all brand new footage that does not appear in the movie. And guess what? That was way more entertaining and alien-like than the actual film we got.
Wow.
In fact, they made a few of those little like YouTube-only spots, and those were a hell of a lot better than the movie.
Yeah, we got an entire
Watch
spot.
those instead. Ignore the movie.
There's like certain things in this film that we don't really learn about that actually were filmed but released exclusively for YouTube. Like there's this, we actually got to see between David and Shaw, and I'm like, damn, this is actually pretty good. Why wasn't it in the film, you idiots?
I will say, James Franco really killed it in this movie.
If you know what he means.
Yeah. If you've seen the movie, then you get the joke.
All right. I didn't see his voting. Okay, very good, guys. All right. I knew this was coming when I said it, so I'm ready for it. I'm up on next. So, Chris, you're up first. What's your first question?
Okay. Okay.
Spoiler warning.
What?
I said spoiler warnings.
Okay. I was gonna say, of all the movies of 2015, why did you consider this your least favorite?
In a word or two, the ending. I hated that ending so much. It pissed me off to no end because it was so abrupt. It was so sudden. And truth be told, I found it depressing. I really did. And I don't want that when I go to watch a comic book film, superhero film. You know, something a little more hopeful and something that like carries through to the end. Don't suddenly stop it at a moment, at an important moment. It pisses me off. It reminded me so much of the series finale of Star Trek Voyager, which is they got back to Earth, and then that's it. Nothing. We don't see them reuniting with their families. We don't see them talking about what they went through. It pissed me off, and that same thing with Logan. It pissed me off. It was too sudden. It was too abrupt. They didn't explain anything to the ending, to what happened. No resolution. Pissed me off. As far as the kids go, no resolution as far as the kids. Did they make it to the camp? Did they not? Explain, please. We didn't get it, and it pissed me off. So that's what it was.
Okay,
that's why.
All right.
Colton?
Okay, let's see here. The ending. Well, I will agree to you that it was a bit abrupt and also, yeah, pretty depressing. But at the same time, I also feel like, you know, 18 years playing the same, maybe 20 years or something playing the same character. 17 years playing the same character over like 8 films and everything like that. I actually kind of felt like, you know, how many? Oh, 9 films. It kind of felt like
this was 2 cameos in First Class and Apocalypse.
It felt like this was the only real conclusion that Logan we really have for Logan as a character. You know, he's been through everything except that one bit. So, would you have liked it better if they had handled that sort of that ending more in a better way, in a better fashion, so to speak, or was just the fact that it happened at all what really just upset you?
No. I kind of went in there half expecting he was going to die. Like, I kind of feel like, because that was the only way, because he was saying, you know, I'm done after this. Unless he changes his mind and appears in an Avengers movie, which, cross my fingers, but I didn't mind. It didn't bother me they killed him off. I was half expecting it. What bothered me is that all the heartache, all the misery that he's been through, both in the original X-Men trilogy and his origin, in his solo films, which I won't talk to you too much, but you know what I'm getting at. I felt he deserved something a little bit better. Like, he deserved to be happy in this last moment. And I didn't get that feeling with it. I felt he was still this sad, depressed character, which he's been through. So, like, you know, can you at least let him die with a smile on his face? Maybe he helped finally get the kids to the gate, to this safe city, and then he dies then. You know, just something like this, a little thing. Just let him make it. Let him be happy. You know, I didn't feel like he died happy.
That kind of sounds like the ending for another movie that we'll be talking about.
Okay, interesting.
Eric.
Yeah, Eric.
I think it's Eric, or was it Max? Never mind.
Oh, yeah, I think you're talking about me, but
okay, I'm curious to hear what that is. Okay, anyway, so yeah, that was it. Eric, what do you have a question?
Trying to think of a question because I know you and I talked about this a lot at work.
Mm-hmm. It's all right if you don't have one.
Yeah, I don't have one this time.
Fair enough. Mike, did you have one?
Yeah. First off, I kind of agree with you. I thought the third act kind of fell apart a little bit. It didn't bug me as much as it did you, obviously, but it did not take it down a few notches. My thought was, besides the third act, did you enjoy the movie at all? Like the whole Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Daphne Keane thing?
Yes, I did. I thought up until that final moment, I was enjoying it. I thought the action was fantastic. The character moments were incredible. And, again, spoiler, when Patrick Stewart dies, I'm like, no! I was crushed.
Yeah.
I was crushed. Although I do wish they had elaborated just a little bit more on what happened to the rest of the X-Men. I mean, they allude to it, but it wasn't clear enough. Like, could you got it a little bit more? So, minor nitpick here and there, but up until the last moment, I was enjoying this movie. It was just that ending that tanked it.
Fair enough.
Anyone else have another question?
Is there any performance in this movie that stood out to you as the best, despite your believing this to be an underwhelming film as a whole?
Well, I mean, I thought Hugh Jackman was stellar. Daphne Keane stunned me with how good she was. I think that's her name. She was very good. I enjoyed her. And Patrick, I mean, the performances were great by the main leads, Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Daphne Keane. I thought they were all great. I mean, again, it was just that ending that ruined it for me. Everything else, I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Oh, now I have a good question. So I know the fact that, it's a depressing ending was, the big negative for you. Is it just because it's a comic book movie or not fitting into the superhero, you think? Or do you just not like endings that don't end a happy resolution in general?
There is a part of the latter that is true because, and I've said this on multiple occasions, as far as the original Star Wars trilogy goes, Empire Strikes Back is my least favorite because the Empire won. In fact, as a little kid, I hated it. I did not watch it as a little kid. I hated the Empire Strikes Back. So it's more the latter. There is a part of the latter that is true, but I think for the most part, it was the former. I thought the sudden ending of it, I thought it was a discredit. I thought it was a disservice to the character. He deserved better than that.
Okay, fair enough. Because I know one of my favorite films I watched in the last year was an old one, The Bicycle Thief, and that one is kind of a depressing ending as well. It's an Italian film.
Okay, so we are done with the negatives. So
to be fair, are there any Italian movies that don't have a depressing ending?
That's fair. Italian is kind of depressing. So.
Okay, guys, so let's move on to positive, our favorite movies over here. So, again, same format, real quick. Start with Chris, work our way. What is your favorite movie of 2017, Chris?
Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Colton?
The Lego Batman movie.
Eric?
War for the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
Mike?
Thor Ragnarok.
And mine is Power Rangers.
You stupid fuck! You stupid fuck!
Silent.
Thank you, Colton.
I'm surprised that Chris hasn't accidentally hit his computer at this point.
I'm just waiting for the time when it actually does happen. I will chuckle. I'm not gonna lie.
I would not submit this entire fuckery. You dead fucks.
Colton? Colton, do you have a question for Chris?
Okay, so who was your favorite actor in this movie? The performances were phenomenal in this film, but who did you think did the best?
To me, it's a toss-up. It's hard for me because it's a hard toss-up between Mark Hamill, Adam Driver, and Daisy Ridley. To me, they really gave terrific performances in this movie. Daisy really continues. She's quite much. She seems quite comfortable maturing into the role of Rey. I mean, her journey is a very interesting one, considering what she feels in terms of how finding her place in the grand scheme of all this. Yeah. I mean, Star Wars stories revolve around protagonists trying to find a way trying to find her place, trying to find her destiny, and really just a very good job of capturing the character in terms of the journey she's going on. And Mark Hamill really he delivers in this movie. And of course, in terms of bringing a Luke Skywalker we haven't seen, yeah, people are gonna have their disagreements on how they're gonna have. It seems to have struck a certain ire in terms of how they portrayed Luke in this movie, but Mark Hamill he delivers his best performance. I mean, he really brings a lot of nuance into this movie, into this character, a lot of complexity. But I think Adam Driver may be the best performer. I mean, he isn't just a villain. I mean, he's really conflicted. He's very tortured. Like I said, he's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of depth in it. And there's some scenes, including with Daisy Ridley, that really they really draw you into. They really just the execution in these scenes. Ryan Johnson does a wonderful job of drawing you into the emotional core of these characters, and how he got great performances out of the three is nothing short of amazing. I mean, I think Mark Hamill and Aaron Driver, I think I'm going to give it to them in terms of the best performances in this movie.
Eric, do you have a question?
Yeah. So I know another character besides Luke that's gotten a lot of talk, let's say, is Rose. As someone who really liked the movie, what did you think about either her character or just her arc in general?
She seems to be a wonderful addition. I mean, into the movie, she's very likable. She's very sincere and very. It's usually very genuine. I mean, genuine in terms of her characterization. She's very much a dedicated member of the Resistance, even though she's not even though she doesn't take an active involvement into. Even though she's not at the front lines, like she's like a pilot or something like that. What I like about her character is that she's entirely relatable. I mean, she doesn't come from a noble line of famous family or something like that. I mean, the part that draws me to her is she's completely ordinary. And I know people had taken issue to the act she makes in this movie, but and some of the stuff is kind of some of the criticism I feel is really unnecessary. But I felt Ryan Johnson created a great character with this with Rose Titter. I mean, I know and some people are not as enamored with her, but I felt she's a great addition to the list as a great addition of many. To me, I feel it's unnecessary what they're doing in terms of criticizing her. I mean, she's a great addition to this franchise. I feel. I mean, I certainly liked her. A whole lot.
Okay. Mike, you have a question for Chris?
I do. Porgs, yay or nay?
Porgs are such assholes. I hate those little bastards.
Okay, your credibility just took another huge nosedive. Porgs are awesome. Porgs are the best. I've got.
They're cute. They are cute, but they serve even less purpose to the story than Ewok.
Do you know why they were in that movie?
Oh my goodness.
Because
toy marketing.
No, because on Skellig Michael Island there are puffins all over the place, and rather than digitally remove all of them from the movie, they just put a pork skin on them. So that's why they're all over the movie.
Oh, so that's why they're all CG. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope the
And
vortex.
then they just had to expand the characters.
I hope
Oh, that's
the,
awesome.
I hope the vortex will eat those little assholes. I'm just kidding. I don't hate on the
I've
pork.
got 2 pork shirts and I've got a 3rd on the way.
Oh no. Oh no.
Porks, they're okay, but I'm more a Voltex fan.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong; those are really cool too.
All right.
Okay. So, Chris, my question to you is this. As you know, I don't know if you were here for. I think you were here for our Star Wars Last Jedi discussion. So you heard Eric and me kind of going on about the problems we had with this movie. Did you have any problems with this movie that you thought just like really upset you, or they just like nitpick things?
Who really nitpick things? I didn't have. I just like I felt there wasn't a lot of dimension to to Benicio del Toro's character. I mean, I felt he felt he felt interesting from from a certain point of view in terms of his view on the whole conflict of the galaxy. I mean, he's very much I would say neutral is the word. I feel there's a lot of, he has a lot of grade to him.
You have to turn some of this noise down, please. All right.
I mean, certainly the characters have a lot of grade to him. I mean, he's very much a morally ambiguous character, but I felt there wasn't much. I felt I sure see what they were trying to go with him, but where they went wasn't completely compelling. And the Emerald character, I just felt she was indecisive. I mean, I don't think they really knew what to do with her. To me, I just think they really didn't. I mean, for me, they didn't work with. And they didn't really resonate with me. They didn't really have.
Yeah, and we've seen from Darth Maul what happens to characters they don't know what they're gonna do with.
I mean, Emerald's character was much better, but I felt they were quite fleshed out. I felt.
Colton, did you have another question?
Your audio was kind of screwing up for me a little. Were you talking about Captain Phasma a second ago, or
no, Admiral Holdo?
Oh, okay, then Phasma. Then what I was in. The Captain Phasma returns to be continues her Boba Fett shtick and all that jazz, but at the same time, I kind of liked what they did with her, even if it was only for a few minutes. But what did you think? Did it serve the purpose to the story? Regarding Finn as a character, or would you just like her to just be in the film way more?
No, no, she didn't impress me in Force Awakens. She didn't impress me in Last Jedi. I felt she was wasted as the character. Character looked cool. But made no impact. Even Boba Fett with his 3 lines in Empire Strikes Back made even more impact. He caught Han and Leia on the Millennium Falcon. He proved he was a threat. Phasma, she wasn't intimidating in the slightest.
I know. I kind of liked her, and I have a sneaking suspicion we haven't seen the last of her. I'm hoping at least.
Yeah,
probably not.
We better not have seen the last of her.
Hey, she still her final words were a lot better than Boba Fett's. What the? Ah!
Oh, she's gonna prove her. If she lives this again, I'm like, okay, well you're basically just a Catwoman at this point. You got 9 lives or something. Like, come on.
Yeah, we'll bury her next to Boba Fett and Darth Maul. And Count Dooku, and General Grievous.
Oh, I was just going to cut it off before you said Count Dooku. Bury her next to all the people who for some reason come back.
Yeah. What happened to him? Eric, did you have another question?
How did you, without going into spoiler territory too much, another really dividing moment in this movie was how a character was treated at the very end of the movie. How did you feel about that moment?
With Luke.
Yeah, the one from Luke. Yeah.
At first, I mean, I didn't really. I mean, I thought it was, of course, with his whole bout with Kylo Ren. That's what you're referring to, right?
Oh no, I meant after that, like right as the movie is ending. What happens to his character? I've seen it divide a lot of people in opinions, and I was curious what your thoughts were as someone who really enjoyed the movie.
In terms of his, well,
How it was executed, yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a nice kind of closure to it. I mean, in the development. I mean, it's just like, I mean, it's like, I had my doubts as well. I mean, what they were going to do with him. I mean, it's like if they were going to go in that direction. I was kind of resisting it because I didn't. I mean, I was really. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not really sure what I'm going.
If you're not really sure, you don't have to answer. I apologize if it's a tough question.
I mean, I had a feeling that they might go that way. I didn't really want them to go up there first because I mean, Luke really grew on me in this movie. I mean, I didn't hate Luke Skywalker. I didn't dislike him, nor did I really like him. I thought he was an okay character, but he grew on me in this. He grew on me in this movie. I can understand. I mean, when I'm not sure really understand, but I'm aware of the criticism regarding it. I mean, well, once that moment came around, for a moment I was like, I mean, my heart kind of sank, though.
Yeah,
but
I think
the movie
for all of us.
But a few moments I was like, I understood what they were going with it. You know. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with it yet. It's not really what what people were expecting, but more as I think about it, it's like, I mean, that I was really satisfied with what they had come up with in the end.
Yeah. Mike, did you have another question?
I do. Is this not the most adorable shirt you've ever seen?
That's true. That's
Do you have a question that's not port related?
A kid.
Jeez, twist my arm. Wait, no, yeah, I do. One thing that I loved the most about this movie was how visually striking it is. It is a gorgeous movie. What do you think is the most visually striking moment in the movie for you, at least? Anyway, I know what mine is, absolutely. But
there's some moments. The moments where the speeders are out on parade racing toward the Force Order walkers. I mean, there is the specific scene with Rey in the cave and stuff like that. The visuals on Otto, I think, are gorgeous. It's just like the vistas are just incredible. The moment that really just made an imprint on my mind is when Admiral Holdo rams the ship into the Radis, the name of the Resistance ship, into the Supremacy. That is an awe-inspiring shot. That is like an all-time favorite of mine. It's just like the build up, the tension, and everything like that. And when she rams into it, the visual of the explosion, it's just like that was just like mind-blowing.
The interesting thing, I guess, for like a week or so, AMC actually put a sign outside their.
I heard about that.
Saying,
I heard about that too.
Like 2 hours and 15 minutes. There's a moment of silence. Please do not leave. That is intentional. They finally realized that's a stupid thing to do, and they got rid of it.
I don't understand how people.
The fact that they actually felt it necessary to do that, it's like, as Steve Harvey so fondly says on Family Feud, this is when you know we're going to hell.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I mean, well, the scene that comes, the other shot that comes close to me is, we're having a twin sons moment, with Luke. I won't go into it, but it very much is a callback to that moment.
Yeah, I liked that.
A New Hope, where Luke worships the two sons. That was very poetic and very moving to me. That scene, that visual comes very close to this one. But my favorite is like the moment where Emma Holdo rams into this. Again, into the Supremacy. That to me, that's one of the most breathtaking, one of the most one of the most incredible shots in any Star Wars movie. One of the best moments.
Yeah, I do not disagree.
It was pretty good. All right. My next question is this: regarding another certain character, and what his fate was like in the middle of the movie. Do you believe what happened, or do you think there's something more going on?
If you're referring to, oh boy.
Okay.
If you're referring to what happened in the throne room, I believe that was for a reason. It was to advance Kylo Ren's character, so to speak. It is very much a comment of how one uses power in the Star Wars universe. You know, it's very much atypical of what we see in the original trilogy, and especially with moments with the Emperor and stuff, and so forth, and so on. I mean, I felt that was great. The whole build up, the whole tension, the whole I felt that was perfect, and he sort of laying it out. I mean, I felt to me he was sort of laying the whole thing. I mean, he works for the opportune moment to make that moment happen. I mean, that was quite. I mean, that was. I mean, I thought that was wonderfully done. Just how it just all built up to that moment. I mean, to me, regards to that certain character, I get what they were trying to set up with it with Force Awakens, but it was never really certain that they were going to a certain direction. So I felt that was a nice twist to me in the overall story. I mean, I thought that was it certainly took me off. I mean, so it's like, wow, I didn't expect that to be. So I didn't have a problem with it, not in the slightest.
All right. Does anyone else have another question for Chris?
No, I'm good.
Okay, we're all good. All right, Colton, you are up. Your movie was a Lego Batman movie, right?
Yep.
Okay, Chris, do you have a question for Colton?
Yes. What was your I mean, what prompted you to make the consideration of this being your favorite film in 2017?
It was probably the second biggest surprise for me, just ahead of Power Rangers. So, what I loved about this movie, like I said, I only saw about 20-ish films, but what I loved about this film was that it managed to be utterly hilarious, just like the Lego movie. But at the same time, there was a level of heart to it that I was not expecting to see. I mean, just seeing them actually tackling Batman's issues with family, being alone and letting other people in. They actually managed to make that pretty sincere, and what was otherwise, probably one of the biggest Batman parodies I've ever seen. Like, this movie was basically the climax of Batman as the quote unquote Bat God, the person that can basically beat anyone up, but just basically by saying, "'Cause I'm Batman." And yet, when he at the same time, I was really invested in this movie emotionally, rather than just sitting around waiting for all the comedy to happen. That's a pretty rare thing, and considering how I felt pretty sort of indifferent to a few films that I was really looking forward to throughout the year, to see this level of, humor and emotion coming out of the Lego Batman movie of all things, that's part of the reasons why it just really resonated with me so much and made me consider it my favorite.
All right, Eric, do you have a question?
So what are your thoughts on this Lego film compared to some of the other Lego films? Because now we've got the Lego movie. I don't know if you saw the Lego Ninjago movie. How does this generally stack up to either one or to both of them, depending on which ones you've seen?
I did not see the Lego Ninjago movie. I almost did, but then I heard the critical feedback was not quite as good as I was hoping, and then I don't remember. I think something else might have come out at the same time that I might have decided to see instead. So, or I almost did, but
I'm pretty sure it was going up against it. So,
yeah, maybe. Either way, I didn't get a chance to see it. But compared to the Lego movie, if I had to choose, I'd probably actually say that I like the Lego Movie just a tad more because I liked how the Lego Movie was more of a everywhere. There's a world for everywhere, whereas in the Lego Batman movie, things were a bit more restricted. Like we still got things like master building and all that jazz, but at times I felt like some of the Lego humor was a tad downplayed. I guess because in the Lego Movie it was mostly a child's fantasy come to life, whereas the Lego Batman movie was more Batman if he was a Lego. But at the same time, it still really worked for what they are doing. I just feel like the Lego Movie had more opportunities to be creative because it's a movie about Legos.
All right. Mike, did you have a question?
Yeah. As far as Will Arnett as Lego Batman, where would you rank him on your list of people playing Batman?
Oh boy, this is gonna be a little tough because I have not seen every.
Is this a trick question?
Just the people that you've seen, then. Just the people you've seen.
Okay, the ones I've seen are Kevin Conroy, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Will Arnett, and I have not seen enough of Michael Keaton, sadly, to fairly rate him. I have not. Like the Burton films, I have not seen enough of, and George Clooney. Well, granted, I have only seen maybe half of Batman and Robin, but I'll throw him on there too. So I would probably rank Will Arnett. I would actually probably. This is a tough one. I'd probably rank Kevin Conroy as my favorite, and honestly, I probably might put Will Arnett after him. I mean, damn, I love Ben Affleck as the Caped Crusader, but and Christian Bale, he did a great job as well. But I don't know, it's just the fact that, again, it's probably the fact that there was more. It was Will Arnett doing more of the character than you expected of him, I guess you could say. But still, his voice acting was on point. He was managed to sound pretty dang intimidating also from time to time. And it's just like he managed to make Batman funny without it coming at his expense either. It's like that takes a lot of work, especially when you're in a parody of all things, And I also got to give him credit for how his Batman voice, it didn't sound like someone trying to do a bad Batman impression or anything. It sounded like how Batman could sound, but so to speak. So I think that's how my rankings would go. And then after that, it would probably go. After that, I guess I'd probably rank Christian. It would either be Christian Bale or Ben Affleck next. I can't decide, but I know that George Clooney would be dead last.
What about pure Adam West?
Oh, right. Damn, I forgot about Adam West. Damn it, this is hard.
Adam West.
I'll get back with you on that one. Next question, please.
Oh, Adam West is the best Batman.
He never needed a muscle shirt because all his muscle was pure West meat.
He didn't need molded plastic to prove his physique.
He didn't need a muscle shirt to prove his physique. It was grade A West, baby. All right. Well, you know what? I really don't have much. I really don't have a question to ask. I mean, I thought it was a fine movie in and of itself. I hate to be the guy who skips over this one, but I mean, I really don't have any questions. Why I can understand why you enjoy it so much. It was certainly funny. It was charming, cute, about the same as the Lego movie. So sorry, Colton. I really don't have much to ask you on this.
No problem.
Chris, did you have another question?
No, I'm good.
Eric?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to ask about it. Really, the main thing is just thoughts compared to the Lego movie, and even when I asked that, Colton kind of answered any other questions I might have, so.
All right. Mike, did you have another one?
Yeah, okay. Just one quick one. Was there any voice cast member that you weren't really fond of it, you thought wasn't really great?
Actually, let me see here. I can't remember his name off the top.
Gotta look at the voice actor list.
It was. This is a bit of a. I was kind of mixed. It's like I liked him, and also was a little, but also kind of felt like his voice was a tad distracting at times. I guess it would probably be Zach Galifianakis as the Joker. It might be just because I'm so used to Mark Hamill voicing animated versions of the Joker that when I hear another Joker voice, it just really stands out. But I mean, like he did a really great job of, but at times I don't know the way he played the Joker up as. It was deliberate, but the way he played the Joker up as like more like a jealous ex could be a tad off-putting from time to time, even though it was what the movie was actually deliberately going for. It just, I guess, his way of doing it kind of really made it stand out and not really come across as subtle at all at times. It didn't ruin the movie or anything. It's just one thing I had. It was just one of the voices I think that stuck out the most out of all the others. If not him, then maybe Michael Cera at the same time. Maybe Michael Cera, though he's changing enough, actually did a good job. Also, I mean, I probably wouldn't way more energy than you're usually accustomed to seeing from Michael Cera. That's for sure.
Fair enough. All right, cool. I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Then one other final minor note. I just want to say that I loved how this movie started off, when Batman sings his song and kicks the butt of every...
I guess that was a final thought.
Apparently. Okay.
What?
You just froze.
Oh, I was saying, what was the last thing you heard me say?
Batman was singing and kicking the shit out of all the
when he was kicking the shit out of everybody in his rogues gallery. It's like, even though there was a whole lot going on in the animation, I didn't feel like I was overwhelmed at all. I could like follow everything that was happening, and I also loved how even after the action was over, it wasn't like the movie blew its whole load in that one moment. There was still a lot of great stuff to follow. And bonus points, they actually got Billy D. Williams to voice Two-Face after all these years. I mean, I don't know why they decided to do that, but I'm glad. I mean, I know why, because he was Two-Face in like the Burton films. But I'm like, hey, nice attention to detail there.
All right, very good, Colin. Very good. All right, Eric, you're back on the hot seat. But this time for favorite movie. So, War for the Planet of the Apes, I believe, was your pick.
Third one in the trilogy.
Okay, so Chris, what is your first question for Eric?
What is it about this? Okay, yeah. What is it about this movie that made you? Was it this movie as a whole that made you so enamored of it to lead to your consideration of it? To considering it being the best film of your favorite film of the year?
Honestly, a lot of it comes down to the performances and the visual storytelling of the film. Because about halfway into the movie, there's not a whole this big reliance on the dialogue that happens between characters in the movie, since most of them are apes and can't actually speak. It's basically the only ones who can't speak are basically Caesar and the humans, and it really makes the motion capture performances of the apes as well as the performances of the humans. It really heavily relies on that, and just the fact that it was able to do that while focusing on such a tone, this massive war that's been going on for years. It seemed very impressive to me. They were able to make that work and not too drawn out.
All right. Colton, do you have a question?
Yeah. Okay, so this kind of goes under trailers always lie or trailers misdirect, but the trailers for this movie made it seem like this was going to be a final all-out war between the humans and the apes. But the movie was actually about a smaller, more personal conflict. And did you like that they went in that direction?
Oh yeah. No, I definitely liked that, because in the actual film, it treated it more like, it wasn't like this is the big battle of the war. It treated it more like this war has been wearing down both sides for several years now, and it's showing kind of how it's broken a lot of the characters in the film, and it's becoming more of a character drama of these people trying to survive this war and trying to make their species survive. And I really liked that. Although, yeah, the trailer did kind of show a lot of the things that happen in the beginning and a lot of things that happen at the end. So it looks like it's a lot of big action and fighting, which I'm actually very glad they didn't go with. I thought it would just turn to, because that was the big strength of the other films, was the performances of the actors and the character drama that they had, and they just played that strength again. I thought it did it very well.
Okay, Mike, did you have a question?
Yeah. What did you think of Woody Harrelson as like the villain of the film?
The Colonel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I really liked him because he seemed like, when you look at him just at face value, he seems like over the top, like, no, screw these apes, I'm in charge, I'm going to just, kill everyone, have it my way. But there's a scene later on in the film where he kind of goes over his motivation to Caesar, and honestly, when he was talking about that, I probably would have done the exact same things he did, because, he's talking about the survival of mankind and facing extinction. The things he had to do may seem morally wrong, but given what caused this whole outbreak to happen, he did everything in his power to avoid it. So whether he was right or wrong, I thought that, his actions had some kind of justification, despite the fact that he was clearly the villain. He clearly wasn't in the moral high ground, and I thought that was very interesting and compelling for a film that focuses so much on a long war.
Cool.
And he also managed to say Planet of the Apes in a pretty intimidating way, and not feel like make it sound like,
Yes.
hey, he said the title.
Yeah, roll credits.
Okay, I just have one question.
Yes.
So I know that this film has kind of been built up as like, it's the finale of the trilogy. It's gonna be like the last ape film.
Yes.
In this saga, at least, before another 20 years go by and we get another reboot of it. Without spoiling anything, can you say that this movie was the final, or did they leave something open at the end for like, we might be able to squeeze one more out of it?
They left something at the end that they could probably squeeze something more out of it, but it seems more like it's paying homage to the old Planet of the Apes films. They certainly could do something if they wanted to, given how it ended, but I think they're establishing it more as they treat it very much like a finale, but just referenced the older Planet of the Apes films, because this is sort of a reboot trilogy that happens in a time frame before the old Planet of the Apes movies happen. So it kind of references, hey, this is how they got to this point. Like, they don't actually show, Planet of the Apes as you see it in the Tim Burton films, but you do see something that is very familiar to that near the end.
We don't talk about the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes movie.
Yeah, when he's saying old ones,
right.
One.
Right, I'm mad. I'm getting directors mixed up. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Paul.
Damn them all to hell.
Damn you. I still think about that. I still think about that moment on The Simpsons when Homer realizes that Planet of the Apes was set on our planet.
Yes.
It was our planet. You man.
Yeah. It's one of those things where in the ending, I didn't actually notice, because I've never seen the old Planet of the Apes films. I didn't notice the reference they were doing. The person I went with, she was actually telling me that was a reference to it. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it's not specifically that, but if you've seen the older films and you see this one, you'll probably recognize it. But it's not like a huge one.
Okay. Anyone else have another question for Eric?
Yeah, one more. this is a small question, but what did you think of the character of Bad Ape, the comedy relief character in this movie?
Honestly, thinking about it, we kind of saw he was kind of the well. Obviously, throughout the film, we see, you know, how the apes are treated by humans if they're like captured or just or if they're just in the general area of them rather than being an ape society. But he's the ape that's kind of in that situation that we more so get to focus on. Like he's our lens to view into the thoughts and ideas of these apes that we see that are being captured, that are being tortured by the humans. We see how they feel through him. And I really like that. It gives you more perspective on what the characters are going through, without having to just give massive lines of exposition of this is how these guys are feeling. Now you see it through the actions of one character.
Okay, cool.
All right. Anyone else?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Alrighty then. So,
Also, was a very close race for my #1 spot. I had a lot of really good movies this year.
all right. Moving on to Mike. What was your movie again?
Thor Ragnarok.
Right. Okay. So Chris, what is your first question for Mike?
What was it about this movie that impressed you the most and made it your favorite movie of 2017?
Well, I mean, with the Thor movies, you can hardly find anybody that tells you that the Thor movies have been their favorite parts of the MCU. The first one was all right. The second one, not a whole lot of people had positive thoughts on.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't. It's not my least favorite, but it's pretty damn close. I still think it's watchable, but this. It seems like Marvel just took a look at that fact and said, you know what? Let's find the most completely bonkers, off the wall director we can find, and have him do whatever the hell he wants with Thor. Because at this point, what have we got to lose? So they said, well, we've seen that. What they do in the Shadows movie. That seems pretty funny. Let's get that guy in here and just you know what, Taika, what do you want to do? He's just thinking of first, like, have you ever heard of that Led Zeppelin song, the Immigrant song? Take that and put Thor in it. There you go. But I mean that's pretty much where I'm at. It just took Thor, and it realizes the entire concept of Thor is pretty bonkers.
Yeah.
He's an alien from another planet that's got a hammer that he can twirl around and fly with.
Had a hammer.
Yeah. It's a hammer, and he's flying with it. Something really weird about that whole fact. And they even make fun of that in the movie. And the fact that it just takes the entire concept of Thor and plays around with it, and just does whatever the hell it wants. It takes like a Led Zeppelin album cover and just paints it on the screen, and it just takes the entire color palette, splashes it on there. It throws in comedy because it realizes this is just a goofy concept, but we're embracing that. And I don't think I've ever seen a Thor movie that just was so courageous. It just so, I don't care what you think. This is what we're doing. Fuck you. And I was like, that movie took balls. It made me laugh. I am all in. I am 100% in. Just call me New Doug.
All right, Colton, what's your question?
Okay, so when watching this movie, it felt like the director really wanted. It felt like the Sakaar portion was the movie the director really wanted to make, and he only did the Asgard stuff because that had already been set up. But I feel like they kind of really downplayed the whole "holy crap, Asgard's been invaded" stuff. What did you think of that, really?
I mean, granted, I don't think anyone's gonna say that Marvel does not have an issue with their villains. They really only got a handful that are memorable, shall we say.
Yeah.
I really, really liked Hela. I thought she really worked. I thought Cate Blanchett was fantastic in the role. She was intimidating. I'm glad that they went full Kirby-esque with the headdress and all that. And dude, when she was like spinning around, just chucking out knives everywhere, I was like, yeah, she can kill anyone pretty much. And she did a lot, really. And so, the Sakaar moments I thought were easily some of the most fun. That was, Thor getting his Guardians of the Galaxy groove on. But the Asgard stuff, I still really enjoyed. The whole Heimdall sneaking around trying to help out the people where he can. I thought it grounded it. It gave us those serious moments so that the entire movie wasn't all comedy, yuck, yuck, yuck. It gave us those serious, those dangerous, those darker moments to really temper out the brightness of the movie. And all in all, it helped even out the tone for me. So I definitely prefer the Sakaar moments, but the Asgard moments were fully enjoyed as well.
All right. Has Eric asked his question yet, or is he up next?
He's up next.
Okay, Eric, what is your question for Mike?
So obviously this film focuses a lot more on the comedy than the other Thor films do. Did you feel for yourself personally that kind of got in the way of the narrative, the tone of the film, or did you think it worked well?
I thought it worked well. The first time I saw it, I'm not gonna lie, it jarred me for a bit. I wasn't really expecting that. I mean, I'd seen the trailers. I knew they were gonna go. It was gonna have a lot more laughs, but I didn't realize it was gonna go that far with it. And so it threw me for a loop. But when I saw it the second time, I was expecting it, and so I was able to kind of get my groove on with the movie for a little bit quicker, and that's when everything started clicking for me. Yeah, I mean, there are really only a couple moments where they throw in a joke that I was like, I wanted, maybe they could have taken that joke out. But really only a couple moments for me. One at the beginning and one near the end. But all in all, I thought that, like I just said, the Asgard moments with their darkness and their seriousness, I thought those really helped to temper the jokey moments, and so I thought actually the combination of the two was really necessary, to keep this movie as level as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So my question to Mike is this. Since Eric since my original question is going to be an offshoot of Eric's question, but that's okay. So obviously we got it from the trailers that in addition to this being a Thor story, they incorporated a lot of the Planet Hulk's line of comics into this movie. So we got a good chunk of that. My question to you is, do you think they gave us enough of the Hulk's moments to make it enjoyable? Or what did you think of the Hulk moment? Him being able to talk, now he's a champion. Do you think the Hulk moment kind of overshadowed this being a Thor movie, or do you think it worked very well?
No, I thought it worked very, very well. Hulk was definitely a major supporting character. Well, Hulk and Banner actually were major supporting characters for this movie. But, at its core, it was Thor's story. He basically met up with the Hulk and then brought the Hulk along for the ride. But that didn't change the fact that Thor was the central character for it all. As far as like the World War Hulk storyline, I like World War Hulk. It's not my favorite.
I said Planet Hulk.
Oh, yeah, Planet Hulk. Sorry.
Okay, it happens.
Yeah, Planet Hulk is not my favorite Hulk storyline, but it's a really good one. But I think for the story they were telling, I thought they incorporated just the right elements. And I mean, from what they say, there is more Hulk storyline on the way in the next couple movies. So I am really looking forward to that, and I can't wait to see how they build on it from Thor Ragnarok.
Okay. Anyone else have another question?
One more.
Okay.
Valkyrie, what did you think of her? Tessa Thompson's performance.
I thought she was fantastic. She was. Pardon me for the gloves I put on. It's kind of cold in my room here.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I thought she was fantastic. I really, really liked her character. I mean, I liked her character right off, where she walks down that spaceship and she falls off because she's dead drunk. I thought I liked her character from the moment I saw her, but when they built up her character and they revealed more about her, I fell in love with her even more, and I thought she is by far one of the best additions to the MCU that they've had in quite some time.
Okay.
Agreed. So she better not be part of that Asgardian massacre that Thanos is about to lay down on all of them in Infinity War.
Well, yeah. I considering how much she was talking about making a female Avengers with her, Captain Marvel, Black Widow. And I don't think they'll be doing that if they wanted to get rid of her that quickly. Plus, I'm pretty sure Kevin Feige liked her character a lot.
Okay. All right. Last question, Mike. This film features the best Stan Lee cameo ever. Yay or nay?
Nay. It's a great one. It is a great one, but for me, the DJ at the Deadpool bar strip club, that was pretty damn funny.
Yeah, hard to top that, but
and when Tony Stark called him
Thor's hair,
when Tony Stark called him Hef, that was pretty cool too.
All right.
No, this was a great one though.
Of this space, of all the movies we've got in this space so far, I'd probably say it's my favorite. I'd probably say either that or his Guardians of the Galaxy 2 cameo is my favorite.
Mine still remains the Amazing Spider-Man 1 cameo.
Of all time, Spider-Man 3, ironically enough, is my favorite Stan Lee cameo, though.
that was a pretty good cameo. Yeah.
I did like his cameo in the first Thor movie. Yeah, that was pretty. Did it work?
Yes.
Actually, I really liked his cameo in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Excelsior.
Excelsior.
That was also pretty awesome.
Tony Stank.
Yeah. This is Tony Stank right here.
Thank you for that.
All right, very good, Mike. Very good. Okay, my turn, and this time I'm starting to.
All right, we're ending where we began.
I don't want to deal with any negativity right now, so this is mine. I don't want to in the mood to deal with any negativity right now. So, Mike, do you have a question for me?
How badass was that movie? Seriously.
It was a stunner. I will give it that. I went in with like some of the lowest expectations anyone could expect, and it just blew me out of the water. Could not believe it. Did I have problems with it? Yes, it was not perfect, but it went above and beyond anything that I ever for this movie. I'm just like that.
Balls of fun. It was balls of fun.
You were horrible under the dome, Colton.
That was a preemptive muting, okay, Chris?
All right. Eric, do you have a question?
So being a big fan of the TV show, was there anything being a fan of the TV show, did you feel there was anything that was done did you feel there were things that were done better in like a film, like a theatrical film adaptation than the TV show versions that you've seen in the past?
Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yes! There were. This film gave me answers to questions that I've had for close to 20 years. For example, how the hell did Rita get her hands on the green power coin? They never explained that in the fucking show. And given how we found how Zordon got his hands on him, it makes it even more mysterious. How the hell did Rita get her hands on the green power coin? They never explained in the show.
They don't even explain that in the original Sentai.
Yeah, they didn't explain. Yeah, I have to go back and watch it. I don't remember. Yeah, but I mean, in this film, they give us an explanation. Oh, and I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but when you see it, I'm like, oh, well, that would make sense. That makes sense. Thank you.
Did the Green Ranger already exist in the original Sentai?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, yes. It did a lot of it provided a lot of story components and a lot of explanations that the show did not give. That I'm like, thank you for explaining that to me. I've been wanting to know that for so long. Did that answer your question, Eric?
Yes, that answered it. Yes.
Okay. Colton, do you have a question?
All right. So I remember when I saw the trailers for this movie, I was thinking, "Oh, good grief! They're turning this into the Breakfast Rangers." But when I saw this movie, this is a proper way to do adaptational inks up. I found a proper way to do adaptational inks upgrade. Like I thought they were inking at the Rangers because it was like hey, the '90s series idealism was for kids. Screw that. But I actually thought they did this with purpose. And so, how did you find the way they handled the Rangers' personality changes?
He agrees.
Yes, I do. I mean, if you go back, you watch. If you go back, the theme song of the show, what does Zordon tell Alpha to do? Recruit a team of teenagers with attitude. Except if you watch the show, let's be honest, as much as I love it, let's be real. Those 5 characters, they're not real teenagers. They're every parent's ideal teenager. I mean, these guys do so much charity work. They teach their own classes at the local juice club, countless community dirt bike races and cleanups. They get all their homework done on time. They ace all their tests. They're almost never in trouble. And oh yeah, they're part-time superheroes. I'm sorry, that is not realistic. I mean, these guys right here, oh my god, they're actual teenagers. They have attitude issues. They have emotional problems. They're real. And it was done so well. Just seeing you guys, their problems. I mean, that campfire scene, dude, I almost teared up. Right here, right in the feels. I'm holding back tears. I am honest to God. Chris, stop that right now. And before you even get a chance. So yeah, yeah, I was almost crying. That was done so perfectly. So I mean, yes, brilliant upgrade to it. It was nice having real teenagers. All right. I've really been dreading this, but I'm almost going to say, fuck you, you're not even going to give me a chance, but that wouldn't be fair. All right, Chris. Do you have a question for me, or do you just want to...
Oh boy, he should save this one.
Okay, let him ask his question, guys. He might surprise us like this movie.
No, he might actually give us an intellectual question.
Okay, are you out of your Death episode cartoon mind? This is your favorite movie in 2000?
What?
Oh, well, that wasn't a good question.
No, it wasn't.
Lots of intellectualism there.
Yeah. Chris, if you don't have an actual real question to ask me, then just shut your fucking mouth. For real.
Okay. All right. You seem very oh crap. You seem very enamored with this movie. So what was what was the elements about it that you were so enamored with, you were so taken away with? What was it to make you to consider? I mean, to make you consider that this is a very good movie.
10 words. Okay? 10 words. Doc Ray Montgomery, R.J. Kyler, Naomi Scott, Ludi Lin, Becky Gonzalez.
Okay.
The 5 Rangers. Their performances, especially Doc Ray, R.J., and Ludi, and Naomi, were so far and above anything that I expected or was even required. I fell in love with these guys in a second, especially RJ. As a fan of the original show, Billy was always my favorite Ranger. I identified so much with him. All his little quirks, how he was so socially awkward, you know, how he never really talked, how he seemed so shy, but he grew up so much. Same thing with RJ. All the little quirks, all the little things that he was doing that made him so unique, like, I was going through them, like, that's me. That's me. That's me. That's me too. I identified so much with RJ. I'm like, yes! I mean, this was not, he did not act like someone who was, you know, playing up, having on the spectrum as a joke. Like, he was being serious about, like, the things he was doing. Like, that's someone on the spectrum would do. And I identified so much with that. I'm like, yes, this is me. This is a true representation of it. And I was so fucking happy about it. So, I mean, yes, it was the main Rangers that I fell in love so much. I mean, to my shock, shit, what's his name? Damn it, the guy who voiced Alpha 5.
Oh, Zach Hader. Bill Hader.
No. Oh, Bill Hader. Yeah, he did not annoy me as much because I was expecting to be annoyed by that. You know, Bryan Cranston, Bryan Cranston, a hell of an actor. He's always going to give a good performance no matter what he does. I mean, Elizabeth Banks, you know, she was kind of a little over the top at this point, but I didn't mind it a whole lot. But I mean, it was mainly the 5 Rangers. Oh my God. Their performances were unfucking believable. Way more than anything I expected, way more than anything that was required. They went above and beyond. And they really proved to me that these guys were worthy of bearing the mantle of the Power Rangers, which is more than I can say for some of the teens who've been on the television show, but that's a story, but that's a topic for another time.
Over.
Thank you, Colton. Yes. To name one. But yeah, I truly felt these guys were worthy of being called the Power Rangers, of carrying that mantle. And I'm hoping to God we get a sequel because I want to see more of them.
Okay.
Anyone else have another question?
Yeah, one. Seriously, how awesome was that movie, right?
Hey, it's my favorite movie of the year. I mean,
it was so much fun.
Okay, I have
Anyone
an
else?
actual question.
Yes.
So, as much as I like this movie, I think my main issue with it is that the character, there was so much, actual character, there was so much character moments in building of the relationships that it actually made to me, it made the actual Rangers stuff almost feel like an afterthought, so to speak. What did you think of it when the Rangers actually fought?
Yeah, the final, I will admit, I didn't think there was enough Power Rangers in there. Like, I thought they could have had a little more Power Rangers too. I'm like, I wanted to see them fight more often. I wanted to see some more martial arts. And, some of the direction they took, like, I hated what they did with Goldar. The Zords themselves look really cool, but the Megazord looked like shit. I thought they could have had a little more actual Power Ranger stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, this movie is really more about them earning the power. It's a journey of seeing them transform like these ordinary kids into being superheroes and proving themselves worthy of bearing these powers. I mean, I had an issue with it, but I didn't really have too much of a problem with it. And I fully expect that if we do get a sequel, and I hope we do, I think we'll get a lot more Power Ranger stuff in it. I think we'll get an actual Power Rangers.
Right. It
I hope that answers
was
your question.
it still was great though to revisit the original team after they spent so many years being overshadowed by Tommy and all that jazz. Nothing
Yeah.
against Tommy, but I mean,
Oh no, I love Tommy, but
nothing against Tommy, but I mean, he wasn't there to start off with. It was originally just Jason, Zach, Trini, Kimberly, and Billy. So it was nice to see them, all together again, and not being overshadowed and getting more or less getting their due again after all this time.
yeah. Yes. Agreed. Anyone else have another question?
I got one more question.
Okay, then go ahead.
Last question. I mean, with everything they teased with the Zeo Crystal and all that jazz, what are you hoping we might get in a sequel? Do you hope we might get Machine Empire or Lord Zed maybe? Or
You know what? I think we can ignore the Machine Empire for now, but at some point I want to see Lord Zed. If not in the second film, maybe in a third film, but at some point you got to bring Lord Zed in. You got to bring Lord Zed in because by God, he was amazing. That second season of the show, he was incredible. So, I mean, you got to bring him in at some point.
I am Lord Zed, Emperor of Evil. Those Rangers were nothing but mere heads. You were defeated by children.
Oh, yeah. That guy was badass.
The Emperors of Evil. You are not fit to destroy a cockroach.
You've made me very angry. Yes. All right. So, yeah, that's your question. We need to see Lord Zed at some point.
Okay. Cool.
All right, guys. So that is wrapping up our interrogation episode. But as I mentioned, I know it's getting late, but we do have a long overdue collection update to show off. So I hope for those of you stuck around for it,
I'll be right back.
Chris, do you have anything to show off?
On this moment, I mean, I still have a lot of stuff. I mean Star Wars the the Last Jedi Visual Dictionary count.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I don't have it. I can bring it up.
No,
I want to read it myself.
I read it.
I want to.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I think we all need to check that out at some point. Colton, have you got anything interesting the past few months?
Yeah, for Christmas, actually, my Christmas present, one of my present from my dad, it is the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I actually went back and watched the pilot episode and the second episode, and I'm like, damn you, Ward! Damn you to hell! I mean, seeing them bring up Tahiti and all that jazz, I'm like, Coast is like, it's a magical place, and I'm thinking, no, Tahiti sucks.
Anything else, or?
I know that's my only real.
All right.
Well, hold on, it's not really a DVD or anything, but another Christmas present I got. This was for my sister. It's a bit of it's like all these old words from Star Wars, like almost like an entire script or something like that, were rearranged by someone into like to the second Death Star and all that jazz.
Wow, cool.
That was pretty cool.
Nice. That is beautiful. All right, Eric, I know you were excited for this part, so what have you got?
All right, so it's been a while since I've been on the collection update, but I'll keep it, within like last 2 months of stuff. So I mentioned this once in the show, but I got the game Middle-earth Shadow of War. Got on sale for $30 during Black Friday at work.
Nice.
Then when Paul, Mike, Caleb, and I all went to go see Star Wars, we stopped in FYE in Target, and I picked up Pokemon Adventures in the Orange Islands, like the complete season, as well as I finally found the hardcover box set of the extended edition Hobbit trilogy. Finally.
I'm so proud of you.
You were so excited for that one, too.
I just ripped it off the shelf. It's finally mine.
He's not lying. He actually did that.
Yeah, and his dad didn't get it for him for Christmas either, so he was able to keep that version.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were going to get that one for me yet. So I kept everything to return just in case. But then before my recent purchases, we had crazy sales at work, and I got one of the old Skylander games for 50 cents so I could get a Bowser amiibo. Purely for this thing, I bought an entire game for 50 cents just to get this guy. I have a problem.
Hey, that's fine.
Yeah, I
Could
got
be
a
worse.
bunch-
You could have a drug problem.
yeah, that's true. I got a bunch of games. I got a bunch of games for the holidays. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, and Pokken Tournament DX for Switch. Pokemon Ultra Sun for DS, and my parents knew I played some of the older Call of Duty games for the Zombies mode, so they got me the new Call of Duty game as well. I'm gonna have to try and find some time to play any of these. And then finally, I did a little bit of shopping yesterday at FYE. That is some extreme bargain hunting for $15. I got total. I got Godzilla versus King Ghidorah and Mothra Battle for the Earth, as well as versus Mechagodzilla 2 and Space Godzilla. And then for this each $5. For $3, I got Coming to America, and these are all sealed Blu-rays, new, never opened. And for $2 each, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and the other guys.
If Caleb was here, he'd be like, I am so proud of you.
I saw those prices and I'm like, I can't pass those up. $2? $3 for Coming to America?
No, fuck you too.
Okay. All right, Chris, you look like you got something you want to show off.
Okay, so just want to show, just of course, in case you guys want to see it, in case you guys want to see this Star Wars The Last Jedi show.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Mike, your turn. Have you gotten anything?
Yeah, I got a few things here. Well, first off, I got this shirt from my best friend.
Oh, I love it.
That's cool.
And he also gave me the Funko Pop of Ghostbuster Dustin from Stranger Things Season 2. I got the complete 10th season of Doctor Who on right here, which I pretty much binge watched so I could watch the Christmas special. I have Lego Ninjago. I did see it in theaters. It was all right. It's my least favorite of the Lego movie, but it was still a fun movie. I got Logan Lucky. You guys, very few of you have checked this movie out, but this is such an awesome movie.
Daniel Craig should trip that movie.
Oh yeah, it's like a redneck version of Ocean's 11. It is so good. I got Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Nice.
I got Dot Hack GU Last Recode. This is an old RPG series for the PS2. There were 3 games in it. This one's got all 3 games plus a 4th one that they just made fairly recently. If anyone knows me, I'm a huge Disney fanatic. So I got these guys. This is Disneyland Secrets, Secret Stories and Magic.
So Walt Disney Treasures.
Oh yeah, Walt Disney Treasures. And this is your host, Walt Disney.
Collections.
I have Walt Disney Treasures Mickey Mouse in black and white, Volume 1.
Oh yeah. I'd love to get the actual cartoon sets.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm a little bit more interested in the character and the actual person of Walt Disney and some of the more live action behind the scenes of all that. So I've actually got 4 of them. I've got these 2. I got Tomorrowland, and I got Disneyland USA, which actually has the the opening day ceremonies for Disneyland in it.
Did you get this? They're still obviously selling actual stores. I mean, I can imagine there's like a few of them around.
I haven't seen them in any stores in ages. I had to get these on Amazon. They are still available.
How much were they? Because I want some of the cartoon love, but they're fucking expensive.
Yeah, because I want to get Mickey Mouse in living color, Donald.
Yeah, I want to get the Goofy set.
Yeah, some of them can be expensive. The most expensive one I've got is actually no, it's this one. This one I actually got as a Christmas present, which I am so happy about because this one right here, Disneyland Secret Stories and Magic, this one is about $200. Yeah, this one is the most expensive one I bought myself. Your host, Walt Disney. But this one I got on Amazon. The actual price is about $150, $160. But I got a gift card and I got a special 10% discount on it as well. So help bring the price down. The other two I got, they were only about like 30 to $50. These are rarities, and they all come in these nice tin cases, but they are very rare to find the full complete sets like that. So
I hope they re-release them at some point.
they are. For some of the more rare sets, you can be looking at like $100, $200, but you can find a lot of them for around maybe the $30, $50 range, which again for cartoons of this rarity, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
And I got one more thing to share here. This was a recommendation on Collider Heroes, and I picked it up. It is Paper Girls, the first book. This is a really amazing series. It was series. It's a collection of like issues 1 through 10 or whatever. But it's got like time distortions, time travel, futuristic guardsmen flying on like pterodactyl-like creatures. But it's all based on these 4 girls that are just out on a paper route one morning, and suddenly shit goes down that you would never believe. They got aliens chasing after them, making them relive moments of their lives. It is amazing book.
All right, nice. Okay, for mine, I got a couple things. Couple of them are like rebuys or upgrades, but I do have some new stuff. And like I said, if I've shown any of these before, forgive me. It's been a while since I've done it, so I don't know what I have and what I have not shown. But I think most of these I have not shown. So I got the Rush Hour Blu-ray trilogy pack upgraded. I got to upgrade the Blu-ray. Nice hardcover too.
They're fun movies, even though they're done by Brett Ratner.
Yeah.
I mean, hate the man, not the product. I mean, that's what I say.
Fair enough.
Also did a little bit of an upgrade. I got the Mummy Ultimate Collection Steelbook, so all 3 of the Brendan Fraser Mummy films, plus the Scorpion King in it, in a very nice.
I like the first one the most.
They're fun movies. They're not great, but they're fun.
They are.
Yeah.
The first one's fun.
The first one's very fun.
All right. I got Batman versus Two-Face with the immortal Adam West in his final performance as Batman. God bless him. And William Shatner as Two-Face.
Oh yeah.
I cannot wait to watch this.
You're
again, sort of an upgrade, sort of not. The Spider-Man Legacy Collection Steelbook. So the Sam Raimi trilogy and the 2 Andrew Garfield films, even though I hate them, but it's this lovely steelbook. You know me, I love steelbooks, and I got on sale. It's just $30. It's normally like 60, 70. So I mean, can't beat that. Galaxy Volume 2. Again, steelbook. You know me, I love my steelbooks.
I got that one.
I got the Wonder Woman Digibook from Target.
Ooh.
Very nice.
Target.
Target Digibooks. Spider-Man Homecoming Digibook. Very nice.
They had just run out when I stopped by and got my copy.
Nice. Oh, so you didn't get it, or?
No, I didn't get it.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. This one, Mike and Eric, you know this one. You know how excited I was when I got this. The Star Trek Deep Space Nine complete series set. Granted, it is not on Blu-ray, but that's only because Paramount is not releasing this on Blu-ray, which I'm kind of pissed off about, but, oh well.
Yeah.
No, lovely set right here. And then I just got this one, and I cannot begin to tell you the deal I got. I saved $100 on this thing. The Star Trek Voyager complete series. All 7th season. I got like $45. So like I said, I saved $100.
Chris, let him enjoy it. Come on, let people enjoy things.
Now I own all 5 live-action Star Trek series. I just need the animated one, and I'll own them all.
Except for Discovery.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna come out on. I don't know if that's gonna be coming out on DVD. I still haven't seen it yet.
I'm sure they will. Anything for $1.
It still sucks.
So yeah, that was my collection updates. These are some nice things I got after Christmas. You gotta love after Christmas shopping. You gotta love it. All right, guys. So that is going to wrap up episode 124 of our show, our first episode of the new year. I want to thank everyone for showing up for this. Chris, it was fun having you here.
Yes, it was great to see you so big here. The show was an interesting one. I really enjoyed doing this. It was a lot of fun. So.
Colton, it was a pleasure having you here.
It was great being here. I enjoyed this, and it's Morphin time.
Yes. They need to show us the Morphers in the next movie. That's another thing I should have mentioned. Eric, I know you've been going through quite a bit. We are very glad you were able to make it here for this.
Thank you, Paul, and I'm very glad to be here. Though, before I go, gotta say, if any of you are interested in War of the Planet of the Apes, Best Buy, it's going for $15 right now, and the whole trilogy on Amazon's only $30.
Cool.
Nice.
Gotta shill that movie.
All right, Mike, my friend, it was an absolute pleasure having you here.
Great to be here, and you really should talk to Doug over here. And Doug's dead.
Okay, that was. I'm sorry. That joke was no.
Oh, I love that joke. I love that joke.
That was not needed.
Just call me New Doug.
Oh, you're laughing, aren't you, Paul?
No, I'm laughing just because of the stupidity of it. It's like, did you really have to put that in that moment with Asgard blowing up? Really? All right.
Oh, no, that wasn't. That was Meek.
Oh, I don't know.
I think he's thinking of he's like the foundations are still good. And Asgard blows up. Nope, the foundations are gone now. Or something.
All right, maybe that's what I was thinking of. I would need to rewatch it when it comes out. But so guys, before we let it go, as a reminder, this is our fourth. We're starting our 4th full year of Nerds United 1. So I want to thank everyone who's been with us for the 3+ years we've been on the air. And I promise, on behalf of everyone here, we are going to do our best to make this the best year that we've had so far. So we hope you will continue to support us throughout this year and many more to come. So we will see you next time. Until then, have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.